Nothing's Impossible podcast. I'm Mark Bradley. He's Troy Brugger. I'm an insurance salesman. He's in the real estate world, and we're just here talking, chopping it up, and showing y'all what we have to offer. So, welcome to the Nothing's Impossible podcast. Let's get it going.
All right, Mark. So I haven't spoke to you all week. We usually talk a few times. I want your week in review. I know that you send me some stuff on NFTs. I don't want to get too personal with your wife, but I hope she's doing well and feeling better. But Mark, just go ahead and give it to me. Tell me your week in review. What's going on?
Oh man, the weekend. I mean, it's ups and downs, dude. I mean, I don't know where should I start? I mean, my wife, obviously, she got COVID just this last week, and we're dealing with that. That's been something to deal with, but with anybody who has COVID or anything, who has a family member, you just go through the process, man. It's a process. You don't know how you're going to react to it. I luckily sidestepped it, and have been ducking and dodging it for a while. And, but all you can do is just be there as a support for somebody who's actually going through it. I think a lot of people don't understand that as much as COVID is a physical thing, that help, your physical well-being is also a mental thing. We're told a whole bunch of stuff about, COVID, whether it's, either on right or the left side, the information. So you don't really know what you're dealing with. All your subconscious is dealing with is what, has been given, what you've consumed over the past, 3 years now. We've been in this kind of COVID, 2.5, right?
It's about 2 years.
Yeah, about 2 years,
March
right?
2020.
So you're just thinking all that kind of different stuff. So again, we're going through that process of getting over that. NFTs, I mean, where do I start? I mean, where can't you look and see an NFT? I mean, I sent you some stuff on it, but I'm trying to expand my education on that, trying to get in that world a little bit, diversify my financial portfolio, because I see out there is people just flipping and turning and making a whole bunch of mega bucks off it. And if I can learn, dude, I'm all down. If anybody out there want to show me how to do it, please DM us.
No, not all right. I don't want the DMs, because I'm already getting like Hawk stuff and Shield stuff, and people are trying to go ahead and be like, this is the next thing, and trying to do the pump with me. Yeah, send it to Mark Bradley. Yeah, Rooted Financial.
Hey, Rooted Financial.
Link in the bio.
Drop it. Boom.
Yeah. See, my thing with NFTs is I love it. I'm very interested. I'm usually a late adopter to things. And Bored Ape Club, I've seen it. Cyberpunks. I have been very vigilant of what's going on, and I've seen a lot of money made. But my issue with the NFTs right now is I don't see the transferable property. I don't see the intellectual property. So it's cool that we have something that, and now I'm going to make some people mad, is like a JPEG that is being minted. And so it's like a 101, but like there's some people that right click and save it and then go and remint it. And then, so it's like, there's this shady area. Nothing's really formalized. Where I'm interested in is the transferable property of contracts. And I had a bit of a thing go on a couple weeks ago. I was on Twitter, and Gary Vee was talking real estate and how contracts will go ahead and just pretty much just go through there. And I had a lot of people basically telling me they don't see the usefulness or the use case for this. And that's fine. Not everybody has to see it. But the fact of the matter is, I think smart contracts are the way of the future. So this is something that would actually be interesting to me. But like the digital artwork, I think is super awesome. And there's a lot of ways that this can transform and move into something. But right now, I don't see any real use case for the digital art besides, hey, look cool, I have this Bored Ape. And that's cool, man. I like that. I can respect that, but I'm not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on it just because Steph Curry did. I mean, cool, man. It's going to take a lot more for me to buy in than that. I mean, I'm a businessman. I like numbers. And yes, the rate of return on this is absolutely phenomenal. But I need some substance behind it. Like if you came to me with a business plan and this is what you proposed to me, I would not be buying your business plan.
Well, to add on to that, what I've heard within the NFTs, and this is just recently, is, and this is from actual Gary Vee too, is it's social currency, right?
Yeah.
So you're in in a sense not only buying the NFT, but you're also buying the accessibility of being a part of something like a VIP club. Like if you're, you can do that blue check in your profile with your NFT and then look at somebody's history and see who that came from and your exclusivity in a club or some kind of attachment in a social status is one of those things where a lot of people, you can see it in LinkedIn, right? Oh, you got a bored ape, you know what I mean? These are kind of like a social currency where um you can move into those atmospheres like, oh, they're a part of this, those are access to these different kind of benefits and all these things that are growing, which is, you know, in a lot of senses one of those Willy Wonka golden passes, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to access that other people don't have. I mean, I look at it as that. I mean, if we're looking at social currency and how the social dynamic of how our, the metaverse and all these different access to, it's like you ever play NBA 2K, like getting a
Yeah, yeah,
skin
of
or
course. I play
Apex
2K.
or anything, like you're a part of a select few group, you know what I mean, that you're associated with. So I think in that atmosphere, I think it's valuable, just because right now social status, you think about Instagram, you think about Facebook, you think about the blue check, you think about everything. That's if we can monetize, now that's being monetized on a level where it can build up the economy in a way I don't even know. But what I've been hearing is that this is a way to kind of kickstart the economy with being able to do art, do I think Atari came out with some kind of box thing that they're selling out, and some other stuff. And I'm just like, it's a lot of information at a higher rate, and it's, you just want to kind of jump on board. Like that's how I feel. I want to jump on board and learn as much as I possibly can before, like, the atmosphere of it shifts, right? Because you've seen, like, when the internet has, kind of is blown up, right? But when the internet first started, there was like Jeeves or Netscape and all this kind of different stuff that's popping up. And that's the same thing within NFT. All these things are like popping up, Bored Ape, all this stuff like that, and things will grow. It's just trying to find out and navigate it the best of your ability before, as it starts up. Just like that one Bitcoin dude who told everybody to buy Bitcoin, right? Saying, "Oh, buy Bitcoin," right before it blew up. And if you can blow up, I mean, get to it soon enough and invest in it, even if it's a little bit before it blows up, you can make some high returns. So
You can. I think it's a level risk. What is your assumed level of risk? What do you feel comfortable with? I
mhm,
always look at business as 2 and 3 waves. So we're in the first wave, maybe the second wave. I don't quite know, but I usually let things kind of settle out, and I will miss some profit margins. But
mhm,
when it comes to investing and stuff like this, I don't think that this is the final shakeout. So I'm cool waiting and
mhm,
looking and being very observant of what's going on. So
mhm,
when I do see the use case, so for Bitcoin, I was Travis Travis Weiser. I don't really want to name drop, but I try to keep the names to me because it's my thoughts and opinions. It's something I'm working on. But anyways, he reminds me of a story of how I was trying to convince him back in, I don't know, 2009, 10, 8, somewhere right when Bitcoin is popping off. He was like, "Hey man, remember when you're trying to get me to buy Bitcoin?" And it's
mhm,
because am not very computer savvy, and I did not remember this story. So I every time he reminds me of it, I don't like it because I basically would be made right now. But the whole fact of the matter is I saw where Bitcoin was being used, and
mhm.
this is not good, but I saw it being used on the black market.
Yeah.
And so it had a use case. And now where's that use case going to go?
Mhm,
That's another thing. But obviously we're here now and it's very formidable. But I like the fact that it was a ledger and a receipt and you can see everything. So now if we go into NFTs, which is really a branch off of that,
mhm.
um, I'm waiting for the next use case, the real use,
Yeah,
not the JPEG.
I
So I'm looking for
I
it.
agree.
And I with this podcast we're doing, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it, I'm not really one person to move in the light. I like to move in the shadows. So if either you know what I'm doing or you don't know what I'm doing, I've been really trying to be proactive on being more active on social media. And I know some of my stuff is probably pretty cringe and not great, but it's the fact of the matter. I'm putting
Oh,
myself
good.
out there because I mean, I'm a businessman and I got to share my thoughts and I have to be accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to social acceptability or a status symbol, I'm not really, for me, that does not move the peg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the thing that actually moves the peg down the road. So just a Bored Ape, I could never see myself getting that because it's too much money. It's too much money to associate. Like I could go buy another house with that
Mm-hmm.
money.
Yeah.
And a lot of it starts in the high tens of thousands of dollars and goes
Mm-hmm.
into hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Now, if you're telling me that's going to be something that I'm going to plant my flag on, you're absolutely wrong. It's just not the way I see business and how I can go ahead and deal with stuff. But yes, Mark, I agree with you.
I agree, man. I agree that you don't want to stake your flag on it. If you're ready to turn and burn, right, and have that
Yes.
access to the money, and you know that that's where it is. That this is not for the long term. This is a kind of a turn and burn investment. That I would say, hey, go for it, and try to get in low, and then from what I've seen, it's a turn and burn, right?
I think, Mark, you're exactly right. And for me, a lot of my investments, my wife trusts me. And for me to go ahead and goodwill pitch this to my wife,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. I can't do it in goodwill and
Mm-hmm.
explain that this is a very safe proposition for us. So
Exactly.
she helps me be mindful of the level of risk we're willing to assume. If it was just me, it'd be different. But I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. So
I'll risk it, man. The thing is we talk about risk a lot. You know what I mean? But I look at risk as calculated. You can have risk, but you got to be calculated. If you have calculated risk within the confines of what you're doing, I think that's smart. I mean, a lot of people know know the cause and the effect. Like, if I do this, this is, on the back end, what could happen. But it's also calculated, what I mean? Kind of diversifying, saying, okay, I have this amount of money that I'm going to put towards a Bored Ape or whatnot. But they're not shelling, mass majority of money. I would hope not. Nobody would do investment probably because this is like a lottery win, right? You're like trying to parlay this into something that's going to explode. And this is not for investment purposes. You know what I mean? That should be like under the the little fine print. You know what I mean? For
yeah.
people that just want to just throw all kinds of money in is hoping for the best. You got to be calculating in your risk assessment of what you're doing and how you're doing it. That's why, like, for me, I would love to learn more. And like, I guess it goes with what you're saying. You're waiting for it to shake out, to have a little bit more a solid concrete grounding on what the risk assessment for this is, what the ROI on this is, and where this is actually evolving to, that is you know carry out in a long-term sequence of events, instead of just like, okay, this is great, but what's the downturn, what's the downside of this? Because God knows, you know, you don't want to be that person shaking a can, we'll buy an NFT for, I mean, for a couple change or whatever, I mean? So I know that from my understanding, that I just definitely want to just be more educated on that before I invest, and have a little bit more calculated risk assessment on, the return. And again, shoot me a DM if you want to teach me anything, because or spread some information, because I love information and I love learning. So
All right, Mark. I'm trying to pull up the market right now. I'm looking
what's the
at it.
market?
So in the last week, all right, in the last month, and here's the problem with it, Mark.
Okay.
In the last month, Ethereum is went down 28%. I'm not looking to take a 28% loss. Like you can't convince me of this, man. And I know that I know a lot of markets can display pullback, and I
Mm-hmm.
understand the markets can reset, but in 1 month I can't be looking at some kind of reset like
What
that.
what's
And I mean,
what's
in one
Bitcoin?
year we're up almost 90%. So I mean, it's really great. I mean, especially when you're looking at a lot of these returns, they're not directly tied to Ethereum. They're tied to Ethereum and the
Mm-hmm.
marketplace. So there's a lot of wiggle room here, but I know people that have lost millions of dollars that I follow on Twitter. So, Mark, what else do you have going on this week? What'd you do business wise? I haven't heard any of that. So I'm interested to hear how your business kind of developed.
Oh, it's developing, man. I'm working with a couple individuals on some deals right now in regards to building their wealth. That's my main focus right now, is building people's wealth in regards to annuities and IU wealth. That's also a deeper discussion in indexing and doing things in that capacity. If you don't know what annuities are or indexing, shoot me a DM, Rooted Financial Group .com. You can definitely set up an appointment with me. I'll show you exactly how to grow your wealth and, long-term tax-free retirement in regards to that. But that's what I'm mainly focusing on, is trying to grow people's wealth. I got a couple deals going on right now where we're set to make somebody a great tax-free retirement. And long-term care is and retirement, in a sense, is something that's super important for people as we get older. You know what I mean? You think about the social security that we will not have at a young age. And I'm trying to just educate folks in regards to that, how to kind of build their wealth and their legacy through life insurance, which is protected income. So, again, shoot me a DM, or, go to my website, and, we can have a definitely deeper discussion in regards to that.
All right, to run it back real quick, I had to dig in my phone. I had an idea. I have a notepad where I kind of keep NFT ideas. And one of them that I really want to see happen, and I think this will really change everything for me. I'll name off two that I'm not really interested in, one that I'm not really interested in, and then the other one that I'm really interested in. The one that I'm not really interested in, but I want to see, is an insurance remedy. So if there's some way that we can do a collective where we're all inputting money, and there's smart contracts where if you're meet certain parameters of the said contract and we all put money in, then we could go ahead and eliminate the insurance companies. All right. So I know, hey, and it really is auto insurance because
Get out of here, man.
Yeah, really. All right, I see where you're going.
Scaring me, dude. What are you doing?
Not for you, because yours is unique. I was thinking more on the auto claims or home claims, because you could go 20 years without even having anything happen to your house, maybe 30 years. I've never made a claim. I'm 37, man. So do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're going.
So if I'm not making auto claims and I am not making home claims, and then we don't have to pay for commercials and we don't have to pay for advertisement, and it's a collective money pool, if you will, it just makes so much more sense. The other one, that this is where it's really going to turn the key to really get me interested. I am very interested in 3D printers. All right. So if you can go ahead and make NFTs, say I got cabinets, I had to install handles for my cabinets. All right. Instead of buying the hardware off Amazon, blah, blah, blah. If I could just buy an NFT and then have that NFT be the cabinet handles that I want, and then print them at my house on a 3D printer, that's where I'm interested. Because then, Mark, I can take that utility of that cabinet handle and then resell it on another market and make it a smart contract to make 1% or 2% or whatever the market demands. And I can resell that almost like a garage sale, but I buy it from an originator that originates this, and then I have it, and then I pass it along.
And then they make the residuals off that, right? Wow.
So I'm very interested in the 3D printing aspect of NFTs. I've never heard anybody talk about it. It's just an idea I had because it made sense for the marketplace.
That's smart, man. Yeah. I don't know enough about NFTs to be, doing that in that business order, but definitely I'm willing to learn. I mean, if you can, I've heard of smart contracts in regards to that. And I think that's just definitely where the market is going, with my limited knowledge of it. To think that you can gain royalties off of, or, the ROI off of that by selling your patent or whatever you have. And that's, if you look at it long term, that's definitely a positive, for the market, for the economy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, how annoying is it to buy cabinet handles? All right. I think I'm saying the wrong word, but yeah, cabinet handles for my kitchen cabinets.
mhm,
I have to buy 30, but I only need 24.
mhm,
There's so many household purposes and utilities in a 3D printer.
mhm.
Very few people have a 3D printer right now. And I see 3D printing in the next 10 years being a very common thing that everybody has in all their houses.
Well, I just saw this thing on TikTok about this guy who had like a 3D printing a workspace. You know what I mean? He had like 10 3D printers and whatever somebody wanted, it was like a drop shipping kind of aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was definitely, you know, somebody wanted something on there and he 3D print it out and then he would, you know, sell it for whatever you know, the shipping and handling costs or whatever, they would obviously cover it. But what he's making overhead, I mean, that's smart. Having like he literally had like 10 3D printers doing it at one time.
Yeah, 3D
And
printing is exciting stuff, man. I could go down that rabbit hole, but I'm
do you
very
have a
excited
3D
for
printer?
3D printing. No, I do not have one, but
Oh man.
as soon as I have utility for one, I
Hmm.
will be getting one because I think it's the future. I just don't know enough of the marketplace where to get three. So if you got 3D printer ideas and somebody wants to go ahead and shill me on something and hit me in my DMs, I'd be more than happy to know
There you
all
go,
about
man.
3D printing. But Mark, your week in the reviews. So is there anything else you want to go ahead and talk about? Anything else going on with you right now?
Anything going on? Oh yeah. So this new thing that I'm doing too
Yes.
is for small businesses. So we have just opened up an access to small businesses in regards to short-term disability. So if you have a small term, you know, I mean, short-term disability, you know, within your, you know, small business and you're looking to retain employees because the employment rate, you know, is more subsidized in regards to trying to, you know, be based off the government, right? So a lot of people are not going, they're working in the sense of I have no benefits or I better yet can get a paycheck more from the government. I can help you in regards to um, being able to maximize the retention in short-term disability with no cost to said, you know, business. So I do all that. We've just opened that access up, and that's the thing that we've been working on for quite some time. We've opened up those doors. So I'm gonna be posting more stuff in regards to short-term disability and disability insurance, where somebody can be working at a job, they can fall off the ladder, get hurt, right? Fall off the ladder, get hurt, and still be working for their job, right? In the capacity, say they were to change the access of their job, saying, "Hey, I need to work. I can work at my job, but I can only do a limited amount of things." So they can still work at their job, making whatever they're making, right? But not at that particular occupation, right? Say they were going into admin, they would be able to get short-term disability at the same time. So they get paid double. So I'm working in the atmosphere of helping out small businesses in retaining their employment rate. So hit me up.
So Mark, do you know much about SBA, Small Business Administration loans for veterans?
No,
All
no.
right.
Let
So
me hear about that, man.
it's SBA.gov. Veteran loans is what you Google, and
Okay.
there's a whole plethora of stuff that veterans are privy to that most people are not. So to people that are interested in small business, I'm interested in small business, and one of the things I really want other soldiers and service members to go ahead and do is when they get out is start a small business. We work for somebody for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and when you get out, you particularly don't want to work for somebody, or maybe you do. I mean, it's all up to you. But if you're interested in starting a small business, I would love to have that conversation. And really, what it comes down to is yes, the long term is I want you to buy a house with me, but I
Yeah.
want you to go and grow and prosper to the point where you're not only buying one, you're buying two, three, and four. So I can go ahead and show you how we can go ahead and do an SBA loan. We can do it for commercial real estate um, on the for the realtor. So I cannot buy investment properties through the small business loans. That'd be a hard money loan. That's a totally different subject. But if you have a small business idea and say you're an electrician, all right, you're
Mm-hmm.
working for somebody as an apprentice, but you have aspirations to own your own electrician company. Once you get done with all that and you look to go ahead and make the next step, you should be taking an SBA loan. And the reason why is once you get pre-approved, what I like to do, I just went around, I just got my LLC and I went to several banks and I made them compete. I made them compete for my business because I'm going to get a business account. And I know it's not high money for them, but it's another account. It's another person putting money in their bank. And only one bank, and I'll say their name, Chase. Chase is the only person that had a real human there to go ahead and answer some of my preliminary questions. Everybody else just told me to go to the website. Bro, I already went to the website. You think I haven't done the basic work? I've already done the basics. But the fact of the matter is, once you go ahead and get the SBA loan, and they already have lenders in your nearby neighborhood, once you're on the website and you get pre-approved, you can go ahead and reach out to them. But then here's the beautiful thing, you can make other businesses compete for your business because you're already pre-approved. They already know veterans are going to have these certain these certain benefits, so then you can go to the other banks and make them compete, see what they can do. See, maybe they can give you a lower interest rate in a short amount of time, or maybe they can give you a loan period that's longer. I'm very interested in that. And one of the best ideas I've heard, especially where I'm at here in Austin, the guy told me over in Houston, is an event hall. He wants to have an event hall because once you go ahead and get an event hall and everything else, they pay you. Say you have a bar mitzvah or a sweet 16 or something that you're going to do at an event, one of these event halls. They pay you typically 20, 30, or 40% up front for a deposit. They'll go ahead and hold it. And the guy told me that he's so interested in this because he was trying to get an event hall so they could do something, and it was booked like 3-4 months in advance. So now you're going to have 20, 30% of a deposit 3 months in advance. Say it's $10,000. So you get I don't know, what would that be? $2,000-$3,000, all right, deposit. And you have that repeatedly, you would have working capital for you to do whatever you want 3 and 4 months ahead of time. I don't know. I just love it. It's one of the better ideas I heard. I'm not there yet, but definitely in the back of my head.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
So, Mark, what is your future plan? We're going to roll forward. What is your perfect outcome in, say, 5, 7, 10 years? I know mine. I've already kind of like really dialed it in, but of course there's going to be different challenges along the way. But what are you looking at?
So obviously, I work in the financial services industry, right? Within life insurance and health and accidental insurance. My big plan within the next 5 years is to continue to grow my agency, continue to, change families' lives by growing their legacy and do that at a consistent exponential rate where, I can see, real estate development within working with you and help you grow your business through, indexing and whatnot. But also, I think we've talked about this before, moving to Texas, right? And continue to grow within that atmosphere within the Texas area and build a center. I know we've talked about this, right? We talked about building this kind of I wouldn't say utopia. That's the wrong word, but building this facility,
a sports complex or somewhere where people come and train.
Yes. Yeah. So building a sports complex where we can have teams go in and continue to grow and bring their team in and do camps there and training camps, whether it's MMA, whether it's football teams, whether it's basketball teams, where it's just basically a training facility where, it's one of these I like this word, sports labs, where everything is formulated, everything is catered to what your needs are, and we continue to build young gentlemen or women and gentlemen, or ladies and gentlemen, in that capacity to be the best athletes, best people. And also within that capacity, I want to set up scholarships and grants for those individuals that are going to school or anything like that, to help them kind of give them a little boost, because I've been in that situation where there were camps outside of the state. There are like some facilities. I mean, I'm older now, but I would just love to be a part of that development in growing our young people, knowing that there's a facility, there's a place that, you know, they can grow and they can definitely, the community can invest in. So how about you, Troy? What's your
Well,
5-year
I
plan?
love the sport complex one because it reminds me of Camp Yam Hill and some of the in the national training camp that we went to
Mm-hmm.
and some of the other camps. Just one moment. We're good. All right. So, and some of the other training camps we had. Um, I love it for the fact that Texas has a vast amount of land. It's very large, it's very centralized, and it's really hot in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I know people are worried about dehydration and the heat index, but the further you can push your limits within sports, the better off you'll be. So it's also training and adapting through those challenges. So I love it. I'm really excited to see where that goes. But for my short-term goal, long-term goal, where I want to be, it's pretty easy. We could do short-term. I want to make my yearly revenue before I get out of the military. So that my yearly salary from the military before I get out, I'm going to be really close to that threshold. We can fast forward a year. I want to have enough deals done so my wife can go ahead and start doing a mentorship program. That's 8 deals within
Mm-hmm.
EXP. I want to buy another house in 2023. So obviously I have to have a good 2022 to do that. I've been talking to one person in particular and what that would look like if we went ahead and partnered on buying another house. Because I would be living here and it would be in my name. So I could go ahead and use the VA loan again and buy another house. And with the VA loan, you only have to live there for 1 year. I've lived 1 year in my house currently. So now I'm ready to use my VA loan again. And how that would look to go ahead and work this kind of system to meet all the criteria is it would have to be a gift from that person to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the house would go in my name. So why this is important, because I don't have all the answers, but what I ideally think is after we go ahead and do that, we can convert it to a conventional loan. And I want to start an LLC for my investment company. And I'll roll this house into an investment. So I'll live there for 1 year and then I'll move on to another one. And I'll change the criteria of the ownership and everything else to go ahead and fit within that LLC. So it's a long-term play, yes. But when rates are going ahead in Austin and we're looking at 20% index increases year over year, it won't last, but we're in a growth stage and it's going to last for another 2, 3, 4 years. It's not going away when you have billions of dollars pumping into this area. And we can go ahead and parlay that into another house. There's the stock market, a good return year over year is 10 to 12%. Last year was not normal. This year won't be normal. There's no normal years, but over the long run, it's 10 to 12%. We can beat that if we go ahead and just look at an equity play. And I'll look at the numbers on what month over month rent will be. And so we can take our mortgage, the rent, and factor all these stuff in and live there for 1 year. And then when we step away, we'll be in a great position again. So that's my next house. That's what I'd like to do. Maybe I'll buy it on my own or partner. Partnership's a little safer though, because you have a third party looking in and be like, yeah, this is a good deal. But we can fast forward 2030 is kind of the number I want to focus on. 2030 is when I want to go ahead and have 15 to 20 houses secured. And why is that so important? Because once I have 15 to 20 houses secured, from that point forward, I won't be doing real estate. I won't be doing any of this stuff anymore. Maybe, but I don't think so. Here's why. 2030 happens. I basically, if I have 20 houses, I'm going to sell one house every single year for the next 20 years. I know this doesn't sound right. Maybe I won't do this, but in my head, it sounds great, because if I roll back to one of my first houses I got 8 years ago this time, 2030, it's 8 years from now. And I go ahead and sell one house every year for 20 years. If I roll it back, I know I'll have equity in one of those houses north of $100,000. So every year I'll be paying myself $100,000 to sell one of my houses to go ahead and kind of pad my pockets for retirement and whatever other ventures I have going on. Maybe I'll just go ahead and leverage all of my houses into other investment opportunities. But I know by having 15 to 20 houses by 2030 is my end game to go ahead and move on to what I have next. I have a lot of stuff I want to pursue, but I know I need to go ahead and focus on that.
And this is, folks, this is why I call Troy the mad scientist, because he's formulated a plan of action. You know what I mean? Front, back, side to side, man with a plan. So
I mean,
hit my
Mark,
boy up.
so Mark, here's the real thing. Once you do one house, say you flip a house, or if you have some investment strategy that you really like, see, it takes you 1 year to do it. And then the following year, you do that same thing again. You should be able to do 2 houses or 1.5 houses. And then year 3, you should be able to do 2 or 3 houses. So when I look at this timeline, I don't believe in this. I think I can move faster than that.
Hmm.
So by year 8, that's 2 houses a year. That's 16 houses. I really think I can do 30 houses. And by that time, my wife will be doing she'll be a realtor. She is a realtor, and she will just basically be handling the buy and sell of houses. And
Hmm.
I'll only be looking at investments.
Yep.
I plan to grow my team and do a lot of things, but
Hmm.
that's why figuring out all the systems now. So when I do hire people, I
Hmm.
can just hand them just pretty much a playbook on what it looks like to go ahead and be a successful real estate agent and go ahead and take my hands off and let them go ahead and fly.
Exactly, man. I think that's the big thing, that anybody in business, they want to scale, they want to duplicate, right? And they just want to be able to, say this is what the blueprint is, and then continue to move. You know what I mean? And continue invest what you need to, and have that passive income come in. I think what I've heard within, all that you said is that this is a cash accumulation, passive income machine that you can, basically navigate and then push into other endeavors, which will again make money, but also give you the ability to serve others. And I think that's you're giving back. You know what I mean? I think we talked about giving back within, that complex, but even in the sense of you giving back within, your real estate endeavors with having 20 houses, 30 houses, you're providing a service still, even if you're not in the real estate game, right? You're still in the real estate game, but just in another capacity, in another department of the real estate, and that's investing. I think in business, we all want to become investors at some point. You know what I mean? To move your money and make your money work for you. So awesome, man. That's some
So
awesome stuff.
so I have a house that is closing on Monday, and it's an investor from Houston. And he was talking about, we were kind of going back and forth, and he was talking how he's interested on creating relationships with the big companies that are moving here, like Samsung, which is
Hmm.
already here in Austin, Tesla, which is about ready to open their facility here very shortly. It's looking huge and beautiful and nice. Love it.
Yep.
Um, but he was talking about developing a relationship with them to go ahead and rent his houses directly to those employees, because we have a housing shortage here in
Hmm.
Austin. And he was wondering how he could go ahead and do that. And I told him, because I had another meeting where a lady was saying how she's doing title, and she's
Hmm.
reaching out to the HR people at those major companies
Hmm.
and trying to pitch them. And I basically just told him, I was like, from another meeting, you should talk to the HR people over there and tell them, hey, I have housing available over here, and I'm only looking to rent to you guys. And he's like, thank you, my man. And I was like, yep, that's what I'm here for. Go ahead, reach out to them. And I mean, because they need housing bad. And
Yeah.
he's not opposed to renting to the general public. And
Hmm.
he is a very fair person, just probably going to rent below market price,
Hmm.
which he just is a good man. He's doing, like, he's very religious. He's doing God's work, and he doesn't look to go ahead and make hand over fist kind of returns,
Hmm.
but he's looking to help out those people, and he's not trying to neglect the typical people here in Austin. But there's a lot of situations, like I have another friend that just moved here from Oregon, and he lives like 15 minutes away from me. They did not, and I love Texas because this is a Texas thing. They
Hmm.
do not want to rent to people outside of the state of Texas, regardless if you have a job transfer or not.
Hmm.
He couldn't pay a yearly deposit. Like, he wanted to pay all of it up front. And
Hmm.
oh man, you don't live in Texas. We're only renting to Texas people. So
Oh wow.
Texas people be like that sometimes. And he finally found somewhere, but he said it was really hard, and it was definitely an interesting experience. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. Keep people you know what I mean, you want to keep your roots or your foundational people here. You know what I mean? I think they're in where we're at, Oregon, we don't work by that same premise by any means. People come in and they push out Oregonians. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Californians who have saturated the market, the real estate market, and you know, me and my wife have been looking for houses for a time being now. You know, to try to get in. You know, and it's just like we're outbid, you know, just by, you know, outsiders coming in and just throwing down some major fat cash. But that's great to know that Texas doesn't work in that same order, and they want to, you know, take care of their own first before they're, you know, they're gonna take care of anybody else. And I can get behind that. You know, I wish that, you know, Oregon worked in that same capacity, and maybe that would have changed my thought process. I don't, you know, second thought, I mean, maybe 2% of my thought process in not wanting to live here, because I really love Texas, because you know, just the people, you know, the state, and the food. I mean, and just the atmosphere that that Texas comes along with. So that's awesome to hear, man.
Hey, I just want to go ahead and jump in and say I know fair housing laws, and I know that this may not fall into that criteria and may be violating some of it. I'm not participating, just so you know. I'm not doing any of these things. All right. So you don't have to come at me about the fair housing laws. I can't make other people abide by it, but just want to put that out there. I understand, and I don't want anybody coming for me thinking I'm doing something wrong. So, Mark, I do have this kind of proposal that I've been working on. I thought about making a
Okay.
video about it, but I'll just kind of spit it right here and we can kind of play with it. But um, if you're a veteran and you're thinking about buying a house and all things are equal, you don't have any divorces or any financial hardships or anything you're going through, and you go to maybe your second base, maybe not your first, say it's your first duty station, trying to figure out how the military works, probably don't have all the money. If you go to your second duty station, you should have your shit together, man. And you should be buying a house. If you don't buy a house when you go to your second duty station, just hit me in my DMs, call me. I will go ahead and take some of your money. You just, because you're giving money away. I like money. You can go ahead and just send me some money and I'll go ahead and invest it and maybe give you some returns or not. Because I mean, that's what you're doing to your landlord. You're just giving them money. So if you're not buying a house on your second duty station, I know somebody that just lived somewhere for 1 year up at Fort Hood. By the way, the price index of Fort Hood is about $200,000. All right. They bought their house for $100,000, an hour and a half away from Austin. All right. Think about Oregon, an hour and a half away. I know that's pretty far, but not really with your traffic. But they bought a house for 100,000. They turned around and sold it for 150 the year after. All right. So I'm going to parlay this into, if you're an investor and you're looking at month to month over month to month rental income, and you want to go ahead and make some money on your investment, Fort Hood's a great spot. Belton Temple's a great spot because the price index is so favorable. So right around there, it's about, you can get houses for less than $200,000. You can get them up to $300,000, and they're looking phenomenal. The whole point of what I'm trying to say here, though, is the general rate up there, somewhere in between $1,400 to $1,600 a month, is fair value for rent. Just that's the average. I mean, it's pretty easy. You just type in the BAH calculator on Google, go BAH calculator, and you'll be able to see what soldiers get for BAH. And that's our living money to go ahead and pay housing costs. So what I'm trying to say is, whatever factor you're looking at on net of return month over month on your investment in real estate is very favorable up there. So if you want to go ahead and have that conversation, I'd love to go ahead and talk to you about it and see what your numbers are and what your mathematical equation is, or what you're trying to go ahead and work out. And I'm pretty sure we'll all be happy when we kind of sit back and look at the numbers. I really wanted to buy that house for 100, 150, what have you, because I mean, that mortgage is somewhere around $1,000 a month. That's $600 I'm making on a turnkey property. Yes, please. And lastly, if you're an investor, I'm going to go investor again, family or friend, investor. I just got a house, $400,000 downtown Austin. So I know the price index in Oregon is over 500, probably 600, $700,000 for a house in Oregon. My brother lives there. his house is worth about 650. We have about a very equivalent type of house, 1,700 square feet, 2-story, very close. My whole point is, if you work remotely and you have the means, or if you don't work remotely and you have a transferable skill, say electrician, HVAC person, we need you here. First off, there's tons of jobs. The freedom and flow of money is readily available here in Texas. Businesses take off, people are successful. So if you have the opportunity to come here and save you a few $100,000 in a market that's escalating quickly with 20% returns year over year, I would go ahead and consider a $550,000. That's our average price over here in Austin right now. Or if you go outside Austin, the state of Texas is $300,000. If you go down into Central Texas, which is like an hour south of where I'm at, you can go ahead and still be at $400,000, $500,000. And those are brand new, beautiful homes. If you go say a home that's maybe 10 years, 20 years old, I'm looking at them right now, $300,000. So really think about what you're doing, where do you want to be, and what you want to become. Because I don't know, man, it was almost 72 degrees here today and I loved it. I know you're probably going to be like, yeah, Troy, the summers are hot. And I'm like, yeah, there's somewhere to swim and my house has AC. I'm pretty happy. I won't go out from 11 to 5. That's cool. I got it.
That's awesome, Troy. I'm looking to get down there. I know that you've shown me some houses in that central area, which are beautiful. I mean, I take it from me, people. I live in Oregon. The house that we looked at that fits within our parameter of, lifestyle. I have 3 kids, right? I have a wife. I need an office, and to get a house that, fits all those checks, those boxes, 650 to 700,000. And that's not like a nice house. That's like a starting point, right? That's like, below 2000s, right? Early 2000s. And, we need a little bit more, and that's far and few between. So, take it from Troy, lives in that area. You can definitely make your money stretch, and get what you want. And
I mean, if you're willing to go ahead and live somewhere where there's hurricanes in Houston, it's humid, there's hurricanes, it's a little crazy, it's not my cup of tea, you can get absolutely beautiful homes, just beautiful homes for $300,000-$400,000. They're really nice. Trust me, my wife's family's from over there, so we go over there and I see some of their prices and I'm like, oh man, but I don't want to live there. I don't want to live there. So I mean, that's each to their own, but yeah, very good opportunities over here in Texas.
Yep.
So Mark, let's look 1 week forward. What do you got going on next week?
What do I got going on next week? Shoot. As for next week, I'm working in setting up a strategic plan with a couple of people in regards to indexing. I know that we talk about real estate, we talk about, life insurance, but I guess to not get too deep in the weeds in regards to indexing, I have a question for you, Troy.
Yeah.
Do you have 401k?
I do not have do I have a 401? I really don't know what the Army's doing with my money, but apparently I give them some money each month and they invest it somewhere and do something. I don't know what's going on with that, but as soon as I can, I am probably just gonna go ahead and pull it out and pay a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would rather go ahead and manage my money on my own than have it sitting there where I can't really do anything with it. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I think it's a lead into something else. Mark, what you got for me?
No, I'm just asking because the majority of the people I talk to, they have a 401k and they're funding the 401k based on, having a long-term goal or long-term retirement plan. And I'm going into this in regards to telling you how I kind of structure a deal in looking at what indexing is, again, without trying to get too far in the weeds. So indexing is basically trying to look at something as calculated risk, right? So we want to eliminate the most amount of risk possible in growing a tax-free retirement. Okay. So everybody knows the stock market goes up and down, right? It goes up and down. You get high returns off the ups, but on the downside, you can lose a lot of money. Talked to a woman today. She said she lost $1,000 in her 401k, which is, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't like losing money. I don't like losing $5 in the washer. But she lost $1,000 today. So what I try to do is what I actually do is I structure policies in regards to saving safe money, right? And putting them in an index. An index is based on the stock, not based on the stock market, but based on the performance of a stock market and how that moves up and down, right? But what an index does is it has a ceiling and a floor. So your money fits within that ceiling and floor, and based on how the performance of the market is going, but never drops down below the floor. So you're making money no matter what. Okay. So in regards to this, I set up a plan and I'm setting up more plans and structured policies so that investors and people of everyday life can have a tax-free retirement. So they're making 13 to 35% off of the investment they put in. So they're putting in, say a real estate agent were to put in, they did a fix and flip within a house, right? And they made the return of, let's say, 100,000 off that house. Now within this policy, I can put in to that policy 100,000, and we can factor in that in the next 5 years, that will grow at an exponential rate, but safe off the market, away from the market, within an index, right? So you'll make 13% plus whatever carrier or investment firm that I put it in, or index I put it in, they're going to match you at. I have an index right now that matches you at 145%. 145% off of 13%. You have, I don't know, let me look at this real fast. Let me factor this in.
All right, because I got a question too.
Yes,
I was gonna let you go with what you're doing. I was gonna ask, if I was to go ahead and put $40 in your index, how low can you go? What do those numbers look like? Because it sounds great that you're talking 100,000. A lot of people don't have that though.
Yes. Again, a lot of people don't have that. Depends on your age, right? So I factor in you're 37, 37 years old, right? And I can mark up that, say, if you wanted to cash accumulate this plan, you would at least want to put in $400, right? This plan also comes with life insurance, right? So you have a death benefit, which we would probably have 250,000, right? And you're funding this cash accumulation vehicle. So you're putting $400 into this, which is making an ROI of, let's say, 13%. Say the market or the index is making 13%, but the carrier is actually matching you at 145%. So if you move the decimal point over for 145%, say 13% times 145%, 13.5% times 145. 13.5 times 145%. That's 21, roughly 21%, right? You're making 21% of a return on that, right? So you have your death benefit, that's 250,000. You have your cash value, which is liquidity within this policy, right? That is gaining that 21% every year, right?
So if I was to go ahead and put $400 in a month, each month I would be making about $80.
Yeah.
On top of that, 20, that's just 1 month over month. So if you go ahead and extrapolate that over a year, and it compounds, right?
Yeah, this is where we're talking about compound interest upon that. So it's building, and then you're able to take 80% out of said plan. Now this is a long term. We're looking at a long term plan, right? So tax-free retirement. All the money that's in this is tax-free. So you're able to pull out 80%, let's say in a 10-year process, you've, put $400, right?
Well, Mark, I'm just going to jump in right here because I mean, the roughest of rough math, and without compounding everything, we would be essentially at almost $8,000. and then 80% of $6,000-7,000, I would be able to pull out almost $5,000, $4,500 to $5,000 in my first year.
Yes.
So if you go ahead and look at the numbers, extrapolate it over more than 1 year, I think you'd be pretty happy. I think that's what you're saying. If we got to 10 years in this plan and we were able to pull out 80%, I know I'd be very happy. So in 8 years, would be 2030. So what you're telling me is I should start doing this now.
You would start doing this.
Go ahead and
you would start doing this now. But the thing is too, is what I try to, tell people is that within this, like your 401k has a max contribution, correct? So max contribution of I think $12,000 to $16,000 a year. There is no max contribution, right? And you can max accumulate this. And what I work with investors is building that tax-free retirement income. So a lot of people supercharge this, right? So if you think about dropping 100,000 or 60,000 from a home into that, now think about that at 30%. 30% every year of 60,000. What is that? Troy, you're the numbers guy.
Hey, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about the defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sue.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's the first person that put me on this.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know Waka Flocka? He talked about this too.
He's huge on investing in real estate and the index that you're talking about.
Yes, yes, sir.
So yeah,
so the thing
that's what I was looking for.
But no, yeah, Waka Flocka talked about this on a podcast about infinite banking, being your own bank. So this is, long story short, this is just the process of being your own bank. When you put your money within a bank, you're making 0.0008% on the return of the bank. Plus, the bank is not actually using your money. They're using your money to keep their lights on or whatever, right? So you're not really making any money, right? Top one banks, top tier banks are investing in life insurance. So this is one of the aspects of having a tax-free retirement vehicle that's going to cash accumulate, that has liquidity day one. You have liquidity day one, and that you're able to pull this money out and use it for whatever you want. So, it's a deeper conversation where I can show you, on a basis. It's hard to explain. But once you see the numbers and where your money and how it's working for you, and you don't have to be subject to IRS pulling that money out, or the stock market, or actually losing money within the stock market, you see this as, a great investment long term. Plus, you'll never outlive this. You'll never outlive this within a 401k. You'll outlive that. This you won't. So
I got a couple more questions.
Yes, sir.
First off, I'm going to challenge you to go ahead and put something together so I can see it on the internet somewhere. Post some kind of video in detail, some presentation that you would do so I can kind of reference what you're talking about. That's my first challenge to you.
I can pull
second thing
right now, my guy. I can pull up.
Hey. Well, you got to put it out there for the people. I can't find it on Instagram. I can't find it on TikTok. Okay. I've been looking for it.
Oh, you've been looking for it? Okay.
All right. Second one is, can I do a one-time deposit, or do I have to deposit money every month?
You don't have to deposit money. You can do a one-time lump sum, cash generated, The thing is within that, what we always like to do is say, you can max accumulate, right? And put a lump sum in and just drop it and leave it. It won't build as fast, right? Based on it, because but you do have the ability to drop a lump sum in there and let it cash accumulate. What we like to see is you do a paid up option. Now, within a life insurance policy, or better yet, an IUL index policy, we have guidelines saying that in this amount of time, this is how much you would have to pay for this to maximize, right? So in a number of like 5 to 7 years, this is the amount that you would be able to cash accumulate in that amount of time. Now, if you were to drop a lump sum in, you'd cash accumulate that amount. But the thing is if you want to make it even grow even faster, you put a little bit more money in there. You put $100 a month in there, $50 a month, and to keep it alive, you'd be surprised. It's, I had somebody that had like a $400 premium, right? Say a $400 premium, and they're paying this every month. Now to keep something like this alive, it's like $30. $30. Say you have a bad day, you lost your job or anything like that. $30 to keep this alive, keep it generating money. And if you can't find 30, but what's $30? You know what I mean? How much do you spend on a coffee a week or whatever you have?
Nothing.
You know what I mean? You could probably find $30 in a month, you know, sifting through your couch cushions or, you know, in your car or, you know, find it, you know, just walking around getting some cans, you know, to keep this growing. I'm going to show you something real fast if I can pull it up in time.
So my other question mark would be, when I pull out the 80%,
yes, sir.
do I have to go ahead? How does that payback look like?
So you don't have to pay it back, but you want to pay it back because you're paying back yourself, right?
Yes.
So you're actually funding your cash accumulation vehicle, right? It's just like anything. If you pull something out, but it's not.
So I have $10,000. I can pull out 80%. I can pull $8,000 out, and I wouldn't have to put it back in. And the program and policy, the index that you have going on, would still keep on growing with the $2,000 remaining. I got it. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Mark, I'm gonna have to roll, bro.
But
what are we gonna end it with? We can't just end it like this.
I don't know, man. What do we? So you got a basketball game going on, right?
Yeah, I got a basketball game.
You better to be taking some photos, bro.
Well, so he's new here. We're gonna go down to 6th Street after this and go walk around. And so you can see the nightlife, see what's going on here. See how, like AB said, nobody gets it popping like AB.
I know.
Nobody gets it popping like me, man.
No, TB, bro. That's you. Troy Brugger, bro. Say AB. They ain't nothing about TB. You know what I mean? We'll definitely chop it up more. And I appreciate you, bro. And I don't know. I guess I can send us off if you want us to. I mean, want me to.
Yeah, dude, wrap this up. Bring us on home.
All right. So we're just going to cap it off with Nothing's Impossible podcast. And we just want to say thank you to Troy Brugger and thank you to me for being here and, you know, basically starting it off and Troy ending it out because he's got to go to a basketball game. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, nothing is impossible.